What would you do if someone you like suddenly started ignoring or distancing themselves from you? That empty feeling, that sense of being trapped in your thoughts. Did I do something wrong? Why are they acting like this? What should I do? I know it hurts, but listen carefully. The worst thing you can do right now is react out of desperation or pride. But what if I told you there's a way to handle this situation with wisdom, composure, and, most importantly, without losing your dignity? In this video, I'm going to teach you 8 strategies that work 100% when someone ignores you or pulls away. These are not manipulative tactics or toxic advice that only make things worse. They are practical tools based on Stoicism and emotional control, designed to help you regain not just the situation, but also your peace of mind. And pay close attention, because the last strategy is the most powerful of them all. Before we begin, I just want to ask you something. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This content might be the first step in changing how you handle difficult moments. Now, let's get straight to the point. Ready? Learn how to act with strength and clarity when someone walks away. Let's begin. 1. Pause and reevaluate the situation. The first step when someone ignores or distances themselves from you is to stop. Don't chase after them. Don't send impulsive messages, and don't try to force a response. Take a moment to breathe and observe what's really happening. More often than not, we react automatically, driven by the fear of rejection or the need to fix things immediately. But here's something you need to understand. Desperation usually makes things worse. This is where Stoicism gives us a crucial lesson. Clarity comes with calmness. If you let your emotions take over, you lose control of the situation and end up showing the worst version of yourself. Think about it this way. When someone distances themselves, there could be many reasons behind their behavior, and not all of them are about you. Maybe they're dealing with something personal, maybe they need space, or maybe they simply don't know how to express what they're feeling. But if you react impulsively, you don't just show insecurity, you also eliminate any chance of handling the situation wisely. Instead of chasing, take a step back. Breathe. This pause doesn't just help you regain control, it also sends a clear message. I will not lose my center because of someone else's actions. During this break, focus on yourself. Reflect on what's really happening. Is this a sign that something in the relationship needs attention? Or are you misinterpreting the situation? This is not about ignoring the problem. It's about addressing it from a position of strength, not desperation. Remember, calmness is not passivity. It's a conscious decision to not be consumed by chaos. In the end, those who know how to pause and reassess always have more clarity to make the right decision moving forward. 2. Don't take it personally. When someone ignores you or pulls away, it's easy to fall into the trap of personalizing everything. That little voice in your head starts screaming, "What did I do wrong? Why don't they care anymore?" But here's something you need to understand. What other people do often has more to do with them than with you. As Epictetus said, you cannot control what others think or do, but you can control how you interpret it. People have their own internal conflicts, fears, insecurities, and worries. Not everything revolves around you, even though it might feel that way. Maybe the person who walked away is dealing with something they haven't even told you about. Or maybe they just need a little space, which is completely normal in any relationship. When you assume that everything is your fault, you're not just punishing yourself, you're also carrying a burden that doesn't belong to you. Instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" shift your perspective and ask, "What is really happening?" This simple mindset shift will help you free yourself from unnecessary guilt and see the situation more clearly. It also prevents you from making the mistake of overanalyzing every little detail. If you spend hours trying to decode every message, every silence, every look, you're not only draining yourself emotionally, you're also moving further away from a real solution. Remember, Not everything people do is a reflection of your worth. Learn to separate your emotions from the actions of others. This is key to making better decisions and preventing someone else's behavior from controlling how you feel. 3. Resist the urge to chase. When someone ignores or distances themselves from you, it's natural to feel an urge to seek answers. That sense of emptiness and anxiety can push you to send multiple messages, call constantly, or even force a conversation. But here's the problem. The more you chase, the further you push them away. Chasing someone in these circumstances doesn't just reinforce their distance. It can also make you feel even more vulnerable and uncertain. The Stoics were clear. Control is not achieved by imposing your will on others, but by mastering yourself. So whenever you feel the urge to send that impulsive message or make that desperate call, stop and ask yourself, will this actually help, or am I just trying to ease my anxiety for a moment? Most of the time, the answer is the second one. Forcing someone to give you explanations or demanding their attention won't solve the problem at its core, because no one responds positively to pressure. Instead, give space and let things unfold naturally. This sends a clear message. I don't need your attention to validate my worth. Rather than chasing, invest that time in yourself. Do something you enjoy, surround yourself with people who uplift you, or focus on a passion project. This isn't just a distraction. It's a way to remind yourself that your life does not revolve around one person. And here's the paradox. When you stop chasing, people often notice your absence and come back on their own. The space you create gives them the opportunity to appreciate your presence. But even if they don't return, you will have already regained something far more important, your dignity and inner peace. 4. Don't let uncertainty control you. One of the hardest things about dealing with someone pulling away is the uncertainty. Not knowing what's happening can consume your thoughts, making every minute feel like an eternity. But here's what you need to understand. Uncertainty is not your enemy. It's an opportunity to strengthen your patience and resilience. As Marcus Aurelius said, when you don't know what to do, observe time. Always reveal the truth. This advice may seem simple, but it is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. When you allow uncertainty to take over, your mind begins to imagine the worst possible scenarios. It creates stories that often have no real foundation, but generate anxiety and distress. For example, if someone doesn't reply to your message, your mind might jump to conclusions. They don't care about me anymore, or they're ignoring me on purpose. But how often do these stories turn out to be true? Probably less than you think. Sometimes, uncertainty is just an empty space that we fill with our fears. The next time you feel uncertain, instead of trying to eliminate it immediately, learn to live with it. Give yourself permission not to have all the answers in that moment. Remember, you cannot control what others think or do, but you can control how you respond to a lack of information. Uncertainty doesn't have to be a punishment. It can be a necessary pause to realign and find clarity. And when you accept this space without rushing to fill it with assumptions or impulsive actions, you discover something incredible. Calmness doesn't depend on what others do, but on how you choose to face it. Recognize your own value. When someone distances themselves or ignores you, it's easy to start questioning yourself. You might think, am I not good enough? What do I need to change to be valued? But here's what you need to understand. Your worth does not depend on how others treat you. This is one of the core principles of Stoicism. Your essence is not defined by what others think of you. We often forget that people's actions have more to do with them than with us. Yet we tend to interpret every rejection or distance as a sign that something is wrong with us. Let me tell you something. This narrative is the real problem, not the situation itself. Recognizing your worth doesn't mean ignoring your mistakes or areas for improvement, but none of these justify losing sight of who you are. You are not less valuable because of how someone else decides to act. If someone pulls away, it's not a judgment of your dignity. but a reflection of their circumstances or choices. The key is not to give them the power to define you. Think about it. Why give another person control over how you feel about yourself? No one who truly values you will make you feel like you have to constantly prove your importance. Instead of getting trapped in doubt and self-criticism, take this moment to remember what you bring to the table, what makes you unique, not out of arrogance, but from the certainty that you have something valuable to offer. Above all, don't forget, your value does not depend on whether others see it or not. Even if it hurts, even if you feel like you're losing something important, remember, you cannot control whether someone sees you for who you truly are, but you can decide never to forget yourself. Learn to let go without resentment. This is one of the hardest but most liberating lessons. When someone pulls away or ignores you, it's easy to hold on to the pain, hoping things will go back to how they were, or worse, to hold on to resentment. But here's the truth. Letting go is not giving up. It's making space so you can move forward. Sometimes, we think that if we let go, we are accepting defeat. But that's not the case. Letting go doesn't mean that what happened didn't matter. It means choosing not to carry something that is no longer in your hands. It is a declaration of strength, not weakness. Stoicism teaches us that we should not cling to what we cannot control, and that includes people. If someone decides to walk away, holding on tightly will only prolong the suffering. Instead, make a conscious effort to let go from a place of peace, not anger. Resentment only ties you to pain. Gratitude, however, sets you free. Be thankful for the good moments, learn from the bad, and let life take its course. Because in the end, holding on to someone who no longer wants to be there is not only useless, but also unfair to yourself. This doesn't mean it won't hurt. Of course it will, because you're human. But instead of fighting against that pain, allow yourself to feel it without letting it define you. Over time, letting go becomes an act of self-love, a reminder that you deserve relationships and experiences that add to your life, not those that drain you. Every time you choose to let go, you are telling yourself and the world that you value your peace more than any situation or person that no longer serves you. Focus on your own growth. When someone walks away or ignores you, the first instinct is to dedicate all your energy to understanding what went wrong or how to fix it. But here's the problem. Focusing all your energy outward only increases your sense of emptiness and loss. Instead of wasting your thoughts on what the other person is doing or thinking, this is the perfect moment to turn your attention inward. Stoics have always insisted that the only thing we truly control is our own growth. And while this may be an uncomfortable situation, it is also an opportunity to strengthen yourself. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending you don't care, but using the experience as a catalyst. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I become stronger, wiser, and more self-aware? Because whether you believe it now or not, every difficult situation brings a lesson. And often, that lesson is about you. Maybe you realize you need to work on your self-esteem. Maybe you notice that you've been prioritizing others more than yourself. Or maybe you simply learn to appreciate your own company. This isn't about distracting yourself with a new project or goal. It's an invitation to use this time to reconnect with yourself. Invest your energy in something that truly helps you grow. Read that book you've been postponing. Learn something you've always wanted to. Dedicate time to your body and mind. Because when you focus on your own development, you don't just improve your life, you also start to radiate an energy that attracts respect and admiration. And here's what's interesting. Often, as you grow, the people who once took you for granted start to notice. But the best part? By then, you won't be looking for their approval anymore. You will have found something far more valuable, yourself. Mais valioso é o seu próprio poder. 8. Não espere fechamentos perfeitos. De os maiores obstáculos. Quando alguém esse desejo está longe, incontrolável ter respostas claras. E queremos entender fechamento perfeito. Por que você ouviu os motivos? Exato. E se for possível receber uma espécie de permissão para seguir em frente. Mas aqui está algo que você não deve aceitar. 18:35. Você sempre obterá o encerramento que espera. E foi bem assim que Marco Aurélio o expressou. Então a natureza não se importa com nossas expectativas, fluem, como não deveriam, como queremos. Este é um dos lições que são mais difíceis de aceitar, mas também uma das mais libertadoras. A vida nem sempre oferece uma explicação detalhada. Às vezes as pessoas, eles simplesmente vão embora sem dar nenhuma razão. Claro, sem dizer adeus como você esperava, e sim, isso dói, mas segure firme. Precisa apenas de um fechamento perfeito. 19:17. Prolonga-o sofrendo, porque no fundo o que você realmente está procurando não é uma explicação, mas uma validação que você quer ser informado de que não foi sua culpa. Ainda você importa, mas aqui está a verdade. Não, você precisa dessas palavras para continuar. Vá em frente. Seu valor não depende de um encerramento, mas como você decide reconstruir-se após a perda. Em lugar de obcecado com o que poderia ter sido, concentre-se no que você pode fazer agora. Não, você precisa entender tudo para curar, ou você precisa ouvir desculpas por 19:57. Seguir em frente na vida nem sempre lhe dará respostas claras, mas isso não significa que você não pode criar o seu próprio respostas. Aceitam que algumas coisas, eles simplesmente acabam, não porque não têm valor, mas porque o tempo deles em sua vida já aconteceu. E quando você deixa de lado a expectativa de um fechamento perfeito, você se... Now that you know these 8 strategies, take a moment to reflect. How much lighter would your life feel if you started applying them today? You can't always control who stays or leaves, but you can always choose how you respond. These principles, rooted in Stoicism and personal development, are not just tools to overcome tough times. They are a guide to becoming stronger, more self-aware, and fully in control of your inner peace. If this video brought you value, I invite you to take the next step. Join our community on WhatsApp or Telegram. Links are in the description and pinned comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a like. A small action that makes a big difference in keeping this content alive. And finally, if you made it this far, comment. My peace is worth more than any situation. Because that's what I want you to remember. Your peace, your growth, and your worth depend on no one but you. See you in the next video. And never forget, when someone leaves, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something new.